to human rights lawyer Noura Erakat. We're joined in the occupied West Bank by the Palestinian journalist Basel Adra, who writes for 972. He spent years documenting Israeli efforts to evict Palestinians living in Yatta, south of Hebron. He wrote the new cover story for The Nation magazine, headlined, "The Destruction of This Palestinian Community Was Green-Lighted by Israel's Supreme Court." On Saturday, he was detained while covering an Israeli settler attack at Yatta. After he refused to hand over his video footage, Israeli soldiers handcuffed and blindfolded him, then sat him in a chair in the blazing sun for hours. The Union of Journalists in Israel denounced Basel's detention, describing it as a, quote, serious violation of freedom of the press. Basel Adra joins us now from South Hebron. Basel, welcome to Democracy Now! Can you describe exactly what took place on Saturday? I don't hear you if you're speaking.
Thank you. Sorry for this. On Saturday, I got a call from a Palestinian shepherd and a neighbor that the settlers invading his field. There was armed settlers and with their sheep in a Palestinian special property grazing there, as this is the recent policy of the settlers where they come over and attack Palestinians in their fields and taking of the private properties. And this is the policy of the Israeli state recently by supporting these settlers, attacking more Palestinians and taking more land and creating more new outposts and farms in Palestinian fields and the Palestinian agricultural fields. So I was filming there. Later on arrived the police and the Israeli occupation army. They invading houses in my village. They tried to arrest people under the claim that the settlers said that their Palestinians were throwing stones at them. So soldiers went directly invading some houses, beating up people and tried to arrest them. And then an officer headed to me and said, "Give me your ID and your phone." And they searched my body, and he told me, you need to open your phone. I told him this is illegal. There is a rules for this. I'm a journalist, and here my card. There is the police is just here. They didn't ask me anything for this. And he said, no, you should open your phone now and be released, or there is another long way to get the videos from you. And he didn't say what is the long way. So minutes after that, he called another group of soldiers who came in another jeep and asked them to take me away. So directly they took me behind their jeep. The settlers were there and started the settlers themselves cursing me while the soldiers were handcuffed me and covering my eyes before put me inside the jeep and start driving away. I couldn't see, I couldn't know where I'm going. And then in the way they stopped and they transferred me in another soldier's car, and also kept driving until we arrived in a place which is their military base. And they took me down from their car, started pushing me hardly. I tried to ask them where they're going with me, what they're doing. I can't see why you are pushing me like this. I don't see where I am walking, where I'm putting my legs. And they just keep telling me to shut up and cursing me that I'm a dog, and they know who I am, because I filmed them all the time when they come to destroy houses, when they are coming to back the settlers, and when they also come to invade the villages in the night or in the day. So there is really the scary thing for me that that there is a hate, and I'm a Palestinian journalist, and there is a hate from them toward me just because I take my phone or my camera and go film them when they're doing these crimes, because they know that they're doing something they don't want it to be published outside. So they let me sit in a chair. I tried to ask them where I am, what is going on with me. They asked me about my phone, while my phone was with the officer and my ID also, and they kept telling me that I'm a liar and that I am bad, and this why you are not going to Jenin, if I am writing to Al Jazeera. And then I stayed there for hours before the officer came again and put me in the jeep, and then take me to the entrance of the village, release me with my phone. Later on, the army spokesperson said I was taken to police to give a testimony. I was not detained, which is really totally lie. They took my phone illegally. I don't know what they did with it. And I was just sitting in the sun being cursed by these occupation soldiers, who's, for them, it's really fun, like, to do that. I was asking them, I was telling them, you would never, ever be brave to do this to an international or Israeli journalist. I don't wish that, but will never happen here. Just because I'm a Palestinian, it doesn't matter, journalist, Palestinian shepherd, Palestinian farmer, a landowner, doesn't matter. I am Palestinian at the end of the day, and there is a foreign army, which is the Israeli occupation forces, that controls our life and can do whatever they want because they have the power to do it. And this is not the first time for me personally to face this. Just last May, I was beaten up for like 40 minutes, really assaulted very hardly. It was filmed on a video when they were beating me up just because I reached my neighbor to film the 4 soldiers trying to take down his shelter. And they decided to arrest me in that moment. I was like protesting, telling them, this is illegal, you don't have excuse, I am a journalist, just come here for documentation. And it was like just masked soldiers who, with the rifles and uniform, and beating me really hard, grabbing me on the ground, like putting my body on the ground, catching my legs and my hands, try to grab me to their military jeep. I was too scared for that, and I was like hospitalized after 40 minutes of them beating me up. And also, like, if you want another example about me personally, like on December 2021 at night, they invaded my home. They confiscated the cameras and the laptop and the car that I use alongside with other activists here for the documentation in Masafiriyat. And the police and the army kept them for at least 1 month in their offices before the court ordered them to bring this back. But for now, like 4 Palestinian journalists sitting in Israeli jail in administrative detention without any charge, without any accuse, just because they are Palestinians. We don't see the European Union, the US sending condemnations about these acts, that journalists sitting in jail without charge just because they are Palestinians. And where is the freedom of press? Last month, just in June, my friend and close colleague, Ihab Alami, for example, from Beit Omar, northern of Hebron, was shot in his leg by an Israeli soldier while the soldiers were invading his town, and he was filming them. The camera were there, very clear that he's journalist. He was wearing a vest, telling that it's a press, like he's a journalist. And even though they shot him, no one talked about this. No one wrote about it. You don't see the Western embassies here in Jerusalem or Tel Aviv writing about it, that there was a journalist was shot, unless someone like Shireen Abu Akleh, that we love her so much, that was shot in Jenin because she's a woman, she has American passport, then everyone talk about her. But this daily harassments and this is just, I was detained for 2 hours and sit up under the sun, but all the time I go out in the field, they try to push me back really hardly. They create flying checkpoints to stop us as journalists and taking our IDs, wasting our time to prevent us follow the forces that, for example, demolishing a home or cutting a water well in Masafiriyat. So this is, we've been we're really tired and risky our life to go film these crimes, and they are really making it very hard for us to do this, and it doesn't matter for them what a price we will pay for this, because they know that